What happens in Vegas?
Um, what happens in Vegas? Good question. Would give you a very simple answer, and it's we coming here to the exhibition every year, and we try to sell cranes to the movie industry, to the television industry, and because we are manufacturer of this equipment, Techno crane, and we are making telescopic camera cranes, and since now 40 years, and that's our profession. It's something like machining industry. So basically, you have milling machines, turning machines, and aluminium, steel, plastic, and out of these parts you make something what moves. You like to carry a camera, and you want to show that, you don't want to show it. The purpose naturally that the camera moves. This we try to make as good as possible, and that's make us to come to Las Vegas all the time.
What did you know about Las Vegas?
Basically, I didn't know anything, but I came here. The Bellagio was built at that time, and I think the Bellagio made a very big impact on Las Vegas. It was not so cheap anymore. It was all of a sudden, it was really fancy. It was really something outstanding. It was really something which you heard in the news, which you could read in newspapers, and it got a very glamorous side, and not so just gambling.
So how would you describe Las Vegas to someone that has never been here?
I have a lot of friends from Germany, and they've never been there, but in their brain they have always still this quite cheap outlook of Las Vegas in their mind. And it's very hard to convince them, to tell them, okay, you have to come here one time and to see how great it is, no? How open and everything. Okay, everybody wants money, but at the end they make it very charming. Just go to Moscow. If you've been in Moscow, it's such a depressing town. Moscow is the opposite of Las Vegas. Moscow is a gulag for people with money, and Las Vegas is, let's say, heaven for people with money.
Do you have any story that happened in Las Vegas?
Yeah, but they all stay in Las Vegas.
That's incredible.
Oh, look, I'm now 66, so I'm, how to say, I now slowly, I've been now 30 times to Las Vegas, or 30 years in Las Vegas, so you slowly ask yourself, okay, do you need it one time more? Do you want it one time more? And naturally it's so you try to prepare a little bit yourself that it's all not so good to pretend that you are 30.
I see. All right, so now let's go back. Where are you from, and where did you grow up?
I grew up in Poland, and when I was 7, my parents went from Poland to Germany because they were German, and then I came to Bonn, which is in West Germany, and and there I had my school and my beautiful days, and then I tried to become a filmmaker, and I made one movie, a big CinemaScope movie, already with one crane, and then I sold. I tried to sell this movie, but nobody wanted to see it. But the crane was quite successful, and so I was forced, against my will, to become a machine engineer and not a filmmaker. And I cannot complain. I wanted to become a filmmaker since I was 16, 17, and I was very fascinated by the movies of Tarkovsky, for example, or Antonioni. And so I started immediately with a 35mm movie, and it's called Love and Death. So if someone wants to see it, it's on YouTube and on our company channel. And yes, so the first 10 years I spent making, or the first 5 years I spent making this movie, because it was quite complicated. We had to build the decoration, and finally we even built a crane, because we couldn't afford to rent a crane. So I built my own crane, and that's the way it started. And then, because of the movie, I had so much debt, so my bank was not very pleased. And it was clear that my movie will never return this money to the bank. So the only chance to stay alive, I've seen that I make this machine. And it became true, yes, the first.
Was your first crane telescopic as
Yes,
well?
it was telescopic, but not moving telescopic. It was, you pulled it out by hand and you fixed it every 5 centimeters, so every 2 inches you could lock it. So you could have a short crane or long crane, but it was still not a telescopic crane.
And when did you make that decision to make it into a business?
It took me a long time to how you say, to downgrade myself from a famous filmmaker to a machinist. And then when I was 32, my first child was born, and then it was naturally clear that you have to earn money. Yes, you can. With a child, you cannot pretend to be a filmmaker or an artist or whatever. You have to simply make money. And it took me quite long to understand this. And yeah, and then I made this prototype, and I sold this prototype, and then I sold 5 more, and then the bank was more and more happy, and then they gave me more and more money, so I was able to make more cranes, and then the whole business grew and grew and grew.
So is that how you felt? You felt that you were, you said, I think you used the word degrading yourself?
Yes.
From an artist to
business?
Yeah,
yeah, not to business, it's even worse. No? It's to you have grease in your hands, you are dirty, and you, with machines, it's this, how we call this really working environment, this labor environment where you make something with your own hands, and it's and in this intellectual, how you say, feeling. Yes, you want to be an intellectual person, and all of a sudden you have to realize that that's not true. You're not an artist. You're much more better by machining, and it feels naturally like downgrading, and it takes you a certain time to understand that that's your destination.
Yeah, but were you sad during this process?
I was not sad. It's you try to stay alive, and when I made my movie, there was naturally a lot of very exciting moments, and then you are faced with the reality of needing money for the child, for example, and then it's not a mistake to be faced with this question, and then you have to ask yourself. You can work, for example, I worked in a hospital for making money 10 years, and that was also perfect, no? So there's nothing wrong with this, and I was never felt depressed or anything. No, not at all. It was, you take it as it comes.
What were your biggest challenges in the beginning that you encountered?
Let's put it this way: you have until today, you have challenges, and these are sometimes very small challenges. Naturally, let's say, the biggest challenge is naturally if you design something. from the scratch and nobody has designed it before, it's something like a big bet. Yes, you don't know if it will work. I remember when the first time the telescope moved, and then I say, yeah, it works. But then I made one big mistake, and the beams didn't move equally out. The one moved, the second didn't move, and the third moved again, and so it was a little bit chaotic because of the detail in the design was wrong, or big detail was wrong, so that was, I think, the most exciting moment to see. Okay, you can bring something to life, what has not seen before, by simply making these technical drawings and by simply allocating bearings and metal at a certain place and putting a gear in and so on.
When did you start making bigger and better cranes?
Of the first cranes were 20-footer, and we made 5 of them, and they worked quite well. Okay, in the first year, not so much. They were rented out by this company, Technovision, in London, and all of a sudden, the BBC started renting them, and then I realized it's. Then I got my first a little bit stable income from these cranes, and this made possible to me then that the financial burden got smaller and smaller, but then I was already 33, 34, something like this, and then the Iron Curtain fall, and I said to myself, okay, London is not the perfect place to build machinery because it's horribly expensive, and so I went to Pilsen, which is close to Prague, and started there a very small workshop with one milling machine, one turning machine, and so the first, let's say, better crane of the second generation then was born, and then I think 91, 92, the first crane was then exported to Los Angeles, but nobody wanted the crane in Los Angeles, because there was no chance. So I opened up the rental house in Los Angeles together with a guy from London, and he worked already with the cranes at BBC, so he came to London, and then the rental house became bigger and bigger and bigger, and then about 2000, I think, 2001, Panavision bought my company, because naturally rental was not my key business, was more building this equipment. And then I sold this rental company to Panavision and focused more on the manufacturing. But you have to, it's more a generation, not generation, it's a more an evolution, yes. It's every, we work in batches. So you make 10 cranes at a time, and then you make complete new drawings, and you change a little bit here, change a little bit there, make it a little bit more simple, improve it a little bit in this direction, add maybe then a new product. For example, then people start copying our product, and then we said, okay, then we have to make something new, so we make a 30-footer. Then we started to make, because it was copied again, the 30-footer, then we made the 50-footer. And so new models came to this product portfolio, and yeah, it's something like an ongoing evolution of equipment.
How was that when you learned those news that another company copied your I guess your idea?
And naturally you are angry, no? But in the end of the day it was very good for us, because we started making new stuff, which what the competitor didn't have, and this angriness, let's say, leads you to new ideas, to new products, to new developments, and that's not too bad.
You used it as fuel. That's great.
What?
You used it as fuel to motivate you. Like,
Yeah, it simply motivates you, because if you don't do it, then you lose the business. Then you don't become the best company in town. You will become second or third best, and other people will be regarded as the best. And actually, human beings like to fight for the first position.
yeah. So you're an Academy Award winner, and I was guessing that that will be a highlight
Yeah.
in your company.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Naturally, it's a highlight, but it's more it's very good for the ego, to getting an Oscar, and to be exposed to so people understand that how important it is. And for me, it was something which I never dreamed when I started making my movie, that I will ever get an Oscar. That was never, in my brain, in my thinking, that something like this will happen. And so I was, in a certain way, I was proud that life can take such a way that you get an Oscar.
You didn't plan for it, but you got rewarded.
Yes, and that's I think a good example in life is if you naturally you have to fight for your goal, and you have to fight hard, but you shall never be angry with life, because life will tell you, okay, that's not the way you're supposed to go. It will lead you to a completely different goal, and you don't know what is your destination.
Okay. Were you always this focused, this patience?
I don't know, but it's the most important thing is that you simply stand in line. You don't escape. You don't run away. That I think you have to because the problem does not go away, and if you try to escape, nobody will succeed, and you help nobody. So, for example, if you're on a big set and the crane does not work, naturally you have to go there, and everybody looks on you and say, when you are ready. Naturally, you can't say when you're ready, because you're repairing. You don't know what is the problem. You don't know anything. So you have to go there. You have to say, okay, now I'm working, and I will do all my best to fix it, but it will take time, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, maybe one day. You don't know. Okay, it never happens really, but you need this approach that you have to stand even the biggest trouble or the biggest problems. And if you are able to stand this, then you are able to overcome it in a positive way. And it's you don't learn it, you have to accept it, basically.
Okay.
And actually it makes you mad, but what happens if you are mad? Nothing.
Yeah.
So.
Tell us where you are now. What's the purpose? Your purpose?
Yeah, it's with you. For example, you have now a child who's 4, and my smallest child is now 17, and in a few months the house will be empty. Then all 3 children will be gone, and naturally that's a big change, and it makes a little bit a feeling of a big change.
Are you looking forward to this change, or
No.
no?
No. You want to how say you don't want basically that children leave you, but it's the natural way. They go somewhere to university in a different town, and they simply jump out of home and finish them.
Are they? They're going to work in the film industry? Do they?
No. Didn't look like.
Did you advise them against it?
I don't believe that there is any good in. People shall have a profession which they choose and which they grow to, and it doesn't make sense to, because if you inherit something, you have a big obligation, and I don't see this as healthy. It's better to the people in my company they've with me 10 years, and naturally they are much more familiar with the problems, with the tasks there, than my son, for example, or my daughter.
What advice would you give your 25-year-old self?
Yeah, never be afraid. That would be, I think, the best advice, not only to me, to everybody. Don't be afraid. Or be afraid and do it anyway. That's the way it works.
Nice. That's great.